welcome to another House Linwood book video. This time, the 2020 Draft, which does take place on SmackDown this week. This is being recorded after Raw, and a few things have happened, that's for sure. I had done a first draft, and it was looking really good. I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool, you know. And then I realised if I do that, my WrestleMania booking video won't work. And I would like to keep it so that it's like, you know, all working. So I had to change a few things around. It was literally just before I was about to record, I'd looked at it all again and I'm going, WrestleMania booking video. And so I had to sit there and figure it out. However, I do still think that it's pretty good. I did originally have more people jumping from brand to brand, but WrestleMania booking video means that I can't. So, the way this will work is that I will do 20 picks for each brand, plus then a list of notable names for each brand as well. There's about 12 people. So, yeah, I didn't want to do all 80 superstars. Well, they said there's 80 plus that they've got sitting there that could be eligible. I didn't want to do all them because I'm not doing all them. Most of them will be lower mid-carders, jobbers, something around there. But I will compare them like Raw, SmackDown sort of thing. So we'll kick it off with Raw's first pick, and that being the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre. And SmackDown's number one draft pick, the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. So that cements top title. Alright, number 2 for Raw is Randy Orton because, well, he's facing Drew McIntyre, isn't he? So he's not getting traded. And you might as well just go, right, he's staying. Yeah. For SmackDown, we've got Daniel Bryan. He is one that I did have going to Raw, but then he can't be in the Intercontinental title picture. Spoiler for that. So number 3 is Seth Rollins against Bray Wyatt. That does include The Fiend. Rollins was originally going to SmackDown. He was going to be my number 2 draft pick, but, you know, couldn't. So number 4 is the Raw Tag Champs, the Street Profits, against the SmackDown Tag Champs, Cesaro and Nakamura. Then we had the Hurt Business at number 5 for Raw, because Lashley's US Champion, so you keep that title on Raw. And you go with Sami Zayn on the other side, so that SmackDown keeps the Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, so that's your top 5. So I'll run down the top 5 again. So for Raw, there's Drew, Orton, Rollins, Profits, and Hurt Business. And for SmackDown, Reigns, Bryan, Bray, Cesaro, Nakamura, and Sami Zayn. Right, number 6 on Raw is Dominic Mysterio. And on SmackDown, Braun Strowman. Number 7, Rey Mysterio. And on SmackDown, Jeff Hardy. Number 8 on Raw is Sheamus. So we got a big move there. And for SmackDown, AJ Styles. He was never changing just because, it's Styles. He's not long been drafted over, so, yeah. So number 9 on Raw is Asuka. And number 9 on SmackDown is Bayley, keeping the titles where they are. And number 10, Charlotte for Raw and Sasha for SmackDown. Now, I'll run through the from 6 to 10. So we had Ray, Dominic, or Dominic Ray, either way. Sheamus, Asuka, and Charlotte for Raw. And for SmackDown, Braun, Jeff, Styles, Bayley, and Sasha. Alright, number 11 for Raw is Miz and Morrison coming over. And for SmackDown, the New Day staying. For Raw, we got number 12, Keith Lee. And for SmackDown, Kevin Owens. Number 13 for Raw, Peyton Royce. 13 for SmackDown, Alexa Bliss. Number 14 for Raw is Mickie James. And for SmackDown, it's Billie Kay. Because we really need them split up. And I've actually got plans for Peyton, which I will go into when I book the 2021 Money in the Bank winners. I won't book the whole card because it's sort of impossible to, even if we were to go off of Money in the Bank coming after Mania, but yeah, doesn't matter. Yep, so that was number 14. For 15, Dolph Ziggler on Raw and Ricochet on SmackDown. So we're splitting Ricochet, Apollo up. So we will now go through from 11 to 15. And we've got Miz and Morrison, Keith Lee, Peyton Royce, Mickie James and Dolph Ziggler on Raw. And on SmackDown we've got The New Day, Kevin Owens, Alexa Bliss, Billie Kay and Ricochet. Now we'll go for the final 5 on each side of the main picks. On Raw, number 16 is Elias, and on SmackDown it is the Usos. 17 for Raw is Retribution, and 17 for SmackDown is Matt Riddle. 18 for Raw is Aleister Black. 18 for SmackDown is Heavy Machinery, keeping the Money in the Bank on SmackDown. That was one that I did have changed, but I needed Heavy Machinery to face for the SmackDown tag titles, and I thought, oh yeah, that's right, because Otis is just cashing in because he can. Number 19 for Raw are the Women's Tag Team Champions Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, and for SmackDown, King Corbin. Corbin was going as well, but needed him for the Intercontinental title. Go and watch me WrestleMania, how I would book WrestleMania 37 video, just so you can see all the matches that are there. Also go and check out my how I'd book the men's and women's Royal Rumbles, separate videos. Probably watch the women's one and then the men's one and then Money in the Bank. Yeah, that really influenced this. So, not even Money in the Bank. Men's and women's Rumbles, and then this WrestleMania, and then WrestleMania. And then watch this one, obviously, because it does influence this. Because for some reason I decided to start with WrestleMania. But yeah. So number 20 on Raw is Angel Garza, and 20 on SmackDown is Carmella. And what I did forget was that I was going to put Andrade on Raw. So he can be number 20, because I think him and Angel are still a tag team. So we'll go Andrade and Angel Garza. There we go, I fixed it up. So number 20 is Andrade and Angel Garza on Raw, and Carmella on SmackDown. So we'll run through the last 5, so from 16 to 20. On Raw we have Elias, Retribution, Aleister Black, Nia and Shayna, and Andrade and Angel Garza. On SmackDown we have the Usos, Matt Riddle, Heavy Machinery, King Corbin, and Carmella. Now I'll just run down the notable picks for Raw. And that is Shorty G, Drew Gulak, R-Truth, because he's 24/7 champion. Kalisto, Akira Tozawa, Michael Cole, Apollo Crews, Tamina, Zelina Vega, Natalya and Lana, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, and the Riot Squad. For SmackDown, the notable picks are Nikki Cross, Forgotten Sons, Lacey Evans, Tom Phillips, Naomi, Robert Roode, Viking Raiders, Murphy, Humberto Carrillo, Samoa Joe, Bianca Belair, and Grand Metalik and say Dorado. Yeah, so that's what 32 picks on each side. That's not too bad, I don't think. So 32 and 32, that's what, 64. So I've almost done about 80. But yeah, the top 20 are sort of like what you would see on the show. And the notable ones are just ones that happen off screen, like they did in 2016. But yeah, so that's how I would book the 2020 draft. Yeah, it's heavily influenced by my WrestleMania book video, so definitely check that out. And also check out the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches, just because then you get the whole story going into WrestleMania, sort of. Yeah, I could book Elimination Chamber and Fastlane, but I'm not sure if they're still doing Fastlane or not. But I could book Elimination Chamber at least. I do think I will book the men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder matches, although it's not much of a booking, given that it'll just be 2 matches. So, if you wanted a spoiler, I can spoil it right now, and that is that Peyton Royce wins the women's one, and Seth Rollins wins the men's one again. Because I think that Seth could be a top champion, but he's being... like, where he is now is fine, but I don't think they can build him up, especially the way that I've booked it. I know that he was competing in the US Championship match at Mania, and I know that Drew McIntyre wins that. If I just have a look here, yeah, he does. Drew wins that, so Rollins yet again loses. But we could then start building him up by making him win the Money in the Bank, and he can, yeah, do whatever. Also, Brock Lesnar's the champion by the end of WrestleMania, so, you know, Rollins could once again take the title from Lesnar by cashing in, like he did at Mania 31. But yeah, so that's how I'd book the 2020 draft, and I've talked about how I'd book the who wins Money in the Bank next year. So if you had any suggestions for what I should book, let me know in the comment section down below. Like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if you want to. Don't really care if you do or not, but you probably should. We will have a new series starting very soon. By the time this goes out, it might have already been started. I'm not sure yet. But it is a gaming series, but it's with Joe and Jack, and I believe there might be a couple of guests on there. Maybe not in the first episode. We were talking about it. Maybe not the first episode, but eventually we will have guests on there. So keep an eye out on the channel for that. That's why you should turn the notification bell on. But like I said, don't really care if you do or not, but you probably should, because then you know when all this shit comes out. And other than that though, thanks for watching. Goodbye and good night.